The sun scorches down on your skin. You can feel the heat radiating off the sand beneath your feet. The air is dry, choking, filled with dust that clings to your tongue. In front of you stretches a massive arena stone walls, towering, packed with tens of thousands of screaming Romans. Their cheers shake the ground like thunder. They're not here to watch a game. They're here to watch you bleed. A guard shoves a short, rusty sword into your hand. It feels heavy, awkward, almost useless across the arena. A massive iron gate creaks open. You hear chains rattling. The crowd explodes into a roar. Your stomach drops because from the shadows, another man steps out. He is bigger than you, stronger than you. His body gleams with sweat, but unlike you, he carries real armor. His helmet hides his face, but his eyes lock on yours with a single purpose: kill or be killed. This is the Roman Gladiator Arena, and you would last seconds. The crowd is not just excited, they are bloodthirsty to them. You're not a human being, you're entertainment. They've come to watch someone die. And today, that someone is you. You glance up at the Emperor's box. He leans back in his seat, waving casually at the audience. He doesn't care who wins. He cares that the people are entertained. The guard behind you gives one last shove. There is no escape. The gate slams shut, and now there's only one way out: victory or death. Your opponent takes a step forward. The sand crunches beneath his sandals. He raises his sword with one hand, shield with the other. The crowd chants louder. You try to remember how to hold the weapon, how to block, how to survive, but your hands are shaking. Your breath is shallow, and before you can think, he charges. His footsteps thunder across the arena. The sand sprays with every stride. You try to lift your sword. It's heavier than you expected. Your arms tremble. The crowd's roar turns into a deafening storm. You freeze, because this isn't a practice fight. This isn't like the movies. This is real. And the man rushing toward you has killed before. He slams into you with his shield. The impact rattles your bones. You stumble backward, nearly falling into the sand. Your sword barely stays in your grip. The audience erupts cheering, laughing, pointing to them. You're already a joke, already a dead man walking. You scramble to your feet. Your opponent wastes no time. He swings the blade, whistles through the air. Instinct makes you duck. The sword misses your head by inches, slicing only air, but the force of the strike is enough to terrify you. This man isn't fighting to spar. He's fighting to kill you. Backpedal. Your heart pounds so hard you can hear it echoing in your skull. Every breath burns in your chest. You've never trained for this. Gladiators trained for months, even years. They learned how to fight, when to block, how to endure pain. But you've been thrown in like an animal. And animals don't last long in the Colosseum. The crowd grows restless. They don't want hesitation. They don't want fear. They want blood. Some raise their fists, screaming for the kill. Others chant louder, demanding violence. For them, this is sport, but for you, it's a nightmare. You manage to swing your sword. It's clumsy, wild, desperate. Your opponent barely has to try. He blocks with ease. The sound of metal clashing rings through the arena. The vibration jolts your arm. Your hand goes numb. The sword almost slips from your fingers. The crowd laughs. They know how this ends, and deep inside, so do you. For a brief moment, Your eyes meet your enemy's. There's no sympathy there, no mercy. He's not here to teach you. He's here to survive. And the only way to survive is to kill you before you kill him. He lunges forward. The point of his sword flashes in the sun. You barely twist away in time. The blade slices across your shoulder. The pain is instant. Burning, sharp blood trickles down your arm. The crowd goes wild. Finally, they have what they came for. You stagger, clutching your wound. Your vision blurs for a second. The smell of iron fills your nose. Your knees shake, threatening to collapse. Beneath you, your opponent doesn't slow down. He smells blood too, and he knows exactly how this ends. The crowd is on their feet now. Tens of thousands of voices merge into one deafening roar. Some shout your death sentence. Others scream for mercy, though not for you, but for the spectacle, because mercy, too, is entertainment. Your wound stings. With every breath, your arm feels heavier by the second. You try to lift the sword again, but your muscles refuse. Sweat pours down your forehead. Mixing with dust and blood, it stings your eyes. Your vision swims, your opponent circles. You like a predator, slow, deliberate. He knows you're already finished. He doesn't need to rush. He wants to draw it out. He wants the audience to savor it. The Romans didn't come to watch a quick death. They came to see fear. They came to see suffering. They came to watch a human being broken apart in front of their eyes. And the man before you knows this because he's done it before. He slams his shield against yours. The impact jolts through your bones. You stumble backward. The crowd cheers louder. They don't see you as a person. You're just another nameless body in the sand. One more spectacle in a long line of spectacles in desperation. You swing again. The blade arcs clumsily, slow and uneven. He sidesteps easily, as if you were a child. Then his shield crashes into your ribs. Air explodes from your lungs. You collapse to your knees, gasping, choking, clawing at the sand. For a moment, time slows. The sound of the crowd fades. You hear only your own heartbeat pounding in your ears. You taste blood at the back of your throat. Every instinct screams at you to get up, to keep fighting, but your body doesn't obey. Your opponent raises his sword. The sun flashes against the blade. He doesn't hesitate. He drives it downward. You throw up your arm to block. Steel rips across your forearm. The pain is blinding. The sword cuts deep. Blood spills onto the sand, soaking it dark red dot. The audience erupts, thrilled at the sight. You scream, but your voice is drowned by the thousands screaming back. Their joy is your agony. Their entertainment is your suffering. And in that moment, you understand the truth. The Gladiator Arena was never about honor. It was never about bravery. It was about survival and spectacle. And you, untrained and terrified, were never meant to survive. The pain in your arm spreads like fire. Your sword is useless now. It hangs in your hand, slipping with every drop of blood. The crowd knows you're finished. They chant louder, their voices shaking the air. They don't chant your name because you don't have one here. You're not a man. You're just meat for the sand. Your opponent circles again. He knows the rules of this world better than you. Gladiators weren't always slaves. Some were criminals. Some were prisoners of war. And some shockingly volunteered. But all of them knew one truth. Once you stepped into the arena, your life belonged to Rome. You try to stand. Your legs buckle. Your knees sink into the coarse sand. It scratches your skin, sticks to the blood dripping down your body. The sun burns hotter overhead, blinding you. The roar of the crowd grows distant, muffled, like you're sinking underwater. But the man before you doesn't stop. He raises his sword. Again you think about mercy in the arena. Mercy was a performance. If you were lucky, if the crowd thought you'd fought bravely, they could demand the emperor to spare you. A wave of his hand could mean life. Another wave could mean death. But in your case, you've shown nothing. You've stumbled. You've bled. You've given them no story worth saving. Mercy isn't coming. The shield slams into you again. You crash into the sand. Face first, the grit fills your mouth, choking you. You cough, spitting, dirt and blood. The crowd laughs. It's not the laugh of joy. It's the laugh of cruelty. Because Romans loved watching strength, but they loved watching weakness even more. Your opponent plants his foot on your chest. The weight crushes the air from your lungs. You try to shove him off, but your strength is gone. His shadow looms over you, sword raised high. The crowd rises to their feet, screaming, chanting, demanding the end. You hear the emperor's signal, a casual flick of the hand, one motion, simple and final. And in that instant, you realize your fate was never in your hands. It was in theirs, the audience, the emperor, Rome itself. Your opponent doesn't hesitate. He drives the blade down. It pierces through flesh, through bone, through everything that made you whole. The pain is exploding across your body. Then nothing, silence, darkness, darkness. The crowd roars in approval to them. This was perfect entertainment. Another nameless soul fed to the arena. Another life lost to Rome's endless hunger for blood. And tomorrow, another poor soul will take your place. Because the truth is simple. In a Roman gladiator arena, you would last only seconds. The sand swallows your blood. The roar of the crowd fades into the distance. But your story doesn't end here, because the arena wasn't just about the deaths. It was about the lives that led to them. And those lives were brutal beyond imagination. Behind the grand stage of the Colosseum, gladiators lived in what was called the ludista gladiator schools. From the outside, they looked like training grounds, but inside they were prisons. Men slept in cramped cells, chained at night to prevent escape. Their meals were simple: beans, barley, and water, cheap fuel to bulk up their bodies. They weren't treated as warriors. They were treated as investments, property of the lanista, the gladiator master. Training began before sunrise. Hours of drills under the burning sun. Wooden swords slammed against wooden posts until their hands blistered and bled. Shields heavier than normal forced their muscles to grow strong. And those who collapsed, they were beaten back to their feet because weakness was not allowed. The lanista taught one lesson above all in the arena. You don't fight to live, you fight to die well. Because the crowd didn't care if you survived. They cared if you entertained. And if your death was spectacular enough, it could earn you glory, even if it cost you everything. Some gladiators were branded with hot irons. Others carried tattoos marking them as slaves of the arena. They were denied families, denied freedom, denied humanity. Every scar on their bodies reminded them of their purpose, to fight until Rome decided they had no more value. But not all were forced. A few men volunteered. Why? Because the arena promised something rare in Rome. A victorious gladiator could become a star, cheered by tens of thousands, showered with gifts, adored by women. For some, even freedom was possible. A wooden sword, the rudis, was awarded to those who fought bravely enough to earn retirement. But this was rare. Most never lived long enough to dream of it. The average gladiator's life expectancy, less than 5 years. Once they entered the arena, every match was a gamble, every breath was borrowed, and every victory simply meant you'd fight again. Imagine it. The sand beneath your feet still soaked with blood from the man before you. The iron gates creaking open to reveal your next opponent. The crowd chanting for violence, their hunger never satisfied. You knew your fate the moment you stepped inside, because in the Colosseum there was no future, only survival. Only survival ran out. The Colosseum was not just a stage for men fighting men, it was a stage for Rome's darkest imagination. Every day brought new forms of death. Every show had to be bigger, bloodier, more shocking than the last, because the Roman crowd never tolerated boredom. Some days, the gates would open not for gladiators, but for animals. Lions, tigers, bears, even crocodiles, dragged from distant lands. They were starved before the show, made feral with hunger, and then they were unleashed upon prisoners, unarmed, terrified, screaming men torn apart while the crowd laughed. This was called the venatio, the beast hunt. It wasn't a fight, it was an execution dressed as entertainment. Other days, criminals were thrown into the arena for punishments called damnatio, ad bestias, condemnation to the beast's thieves. Rebels, deserters, stripped naked and tied to stakes. Lions leaped upon them, ripping flesh from bone. Their screams filled the arena, drowned only by cheers, and when it was over, the sand was soaked in blood and entrails. Executions could take other forms too. Some were burned alive, their bodies blackened as the flames rose. Others were crucified, left to die slowly in the blazing sun. And sometimes, execution was turned into theater. Criminals forced to play roles in reenactments of myths like Icarus, tied with false wings and thrown from a tower, or Orpheus, torn apart by animals while playing his lyre. The crowd adored it. For Rome, cruelty was art. Then came the staged naval battles, naumachia. The arena was flooded with water. Ships were dragged in. Prisoners were chained to the oars, and then they were ordered to fight to the death on water. In front of tens of thousands, men drowned as arrows rained from above. Blood turned the water red, and when the fight ended, survivors were slaughtered anyway. But nothing compared to gladiator duels, because these were personal. The crowd chose favorites. Bets were placed. Cheers erupted when blood spilled. Gladiators were forced into categories. Murmillo, with heavy shields and fish-shaped helmets. Retiarius, armed only with a net and trident, forced to face armored killers. Threx, wielding curved swords like sickles, each type designed not for fairness but for spectacle. The matchups were uneven by design. A lightly armed gladiator against a heavily armored one. A man with only a net against a man with steel. It wasn't about skill, it was about drama. The crowd wanted tension. They wanted to see desperation, and they wanted to watch one man crushed beneath another. By the end of each day, the arena floor was thick with blood. Slaves raked fresh sand over it to cover the stains, but no amount of sand could hide the truth. The Colosseum was not a theater of honor. It was a machine of death, and if you stepped into it, your chances of survival were close to none. The Colosseum was always full. Tens of thousands of Romans packed the seats. Rich, poor, men, women, even children, all came to see blood for the Roman people. These games were more than sport. They were escape. They were power. They were Rome itself. Life in ancient Rome was brutal. Most lived in crowded, filthy apartments. Disease was common. Work was harsh, and death came early. But in the arena, they could forget. They could cheer. They could feel alive while watching others die. The emperors understood this. They used the games as control, bread, and circuses. They said, "Feed the people, entertain the people, and they will never rise against you." So the games were free, paid for by the state. Food handed out, seats filled, and the people kept quiet. But the crowd was not just passive. They decided life or death. When a gladiator fell, the emperor looked to the people, thumbs up, or thumbs down. The crowd's roar sealed a man's fate. Mercy was rare. Blood was expected. The more violent the spectacle, the louder the cheers. If a fight dragged too long, they demanded more death. If the execution was too quick, they demanded more pain. The audience craved shock, and Rome delivered. To be in that crowd was to feel part of Rome's power. Every scream, every wound, every life taken, the people shared in it. The Colosseum was not only a theater of death, it was a mirror of Roman society, and what it showed was a civilization addicted to violence. For Rome, cruelty was not shameful, it was glorious. It proved their strength, their dominance, their superiority over slaves, enemies, and beasts. And as long as blood flowed, Rome felt eternal. You've survived the first week, but barely. The training's called a ludicis, a prison of its own. High walls, iron gates, guards. Everywhere you cannot escape. Your life belongs to the Lanesta, the man who owns you. Every morning, before the sun is high, you are dragged into the training. Yard, sand, under your feet, wooden weapons in your hands, the air thick with sweat and dust. The instructors are brutal, old, gladiators, scarred, missing fingers, some half lame from years of fighting, and they beat lessons into you. They teach you footwork, balance, how to move in heavy armor, how to keep the shield raised, even when your arm screams with pain, and how to attack without hesitation, because hesitation in the arena means death. You train against straw dummies. First, then wooden poles, then other recruits. The blows are real, the bruises. Deep blood is spilled every day. Your diet is changed. Barley, beans, ash, mixed into food. They want your body heavy, thick, to absorb cuts. You are being shaped into a weapon. At night, you collapse on the hard floor of the barracks, surrounded by other men who may soon try to kill you. Some whisper about freedom, about winning enough fights to be released. Most know the truth, few ever leave alive. Then, one morning, your name is called, the arena awaits. The guards take you from the school chain. Your wrists march you through the streets. People jeer, throw food. Children point and laugh to them. You are already dead. And then you see it, the Colosseum, vast, terrifying, its walls rising like a mountain. You feel smaller than ever. Your stomach twists. Your hands shake in the underground tunnels. You hear the roar of the crowd above tens of thousands, waiting for blood. Your blood, the gate creaks open. Light floods in, sand glitters under the sun, and you step into the arena for the first time. Your life is now in the hands of fate and the mercy of the crowd. The gates creaked open, blinding light hit your eyes. The sun, the sand, the roar. The Colosseum exploded with sound. Tens of thousands of voices, all screaming, all demanding blood. You step forward, the heat hits your skin, sweat pours instantly. Your armor feels heavier than ever. Your hands tremble around the sword, across the arena. Another man waits, not a criminal, not a slave, a trained killer, a gladiator. His eyes lock on you, cold, focused, hungry. A trumpet blasts. The crowd falls silent. The fight has begun. You hesitate. Your mind races. Every lesson from training rushes back. Keep your guard high. Protect the chest. Move. Don't freeze. But your legs, they don't listen. The other gladiator charges. Sand kicks up behind him. The ground shakes beneath his steps. He swings. Fast, tarred. The blade whistles past your ear. You stumble. Back, tart, pounding. The crowd roars. He doesn't stop. Another. Strike. And another. Each one meant to kill. You block one blow there. Impact rattles your arms. The sword almost flies from your grip. Pain shoots through your wrist. You realize the truth. Training was controlled. This is chaos. This is survival. One mistake and you die. The gladiator circles you like a predator. He knows you're weak. He knows the crowd loves a quick kill, but he toys with you, slashing your arm, cutting shallow wounds, drawing blood for the audience. The crowd cheers louder. They smell death. You swing desperately, wild, untrained. He parries easily. The force jolts your entire body. He laughs. The crowd laughs with him. You are nothing but entertainment. Then he knocks you down. Your back hits the sand. The sword slips from your hand. The sun blinds you again. You hear the crowd chanting, "Kill, kill, kill." The gladiator raises his weapon. It glints in the light. This is it. Your life hangs on a decision. Not yours, the crowd's, the emperor's. A single gesture will decide if you live or die in the sand. The sand is hot beneath your back. Your chest heaves. Every breath burns. Your arm bleeds where his blade cut deep. The metallic taste of blood fills your mouth. Above you, the gladiator stands tall, his weapon poised for the final strike. The sun gleams off the steel. One swing, one moment, and you are gone. But he waits. He doesn't finish it, because it isn't his choice. It never was. Your life belongs to them. The crowd, tens of thousands of Romans, all screaming, all waving their arms. Their voices thunder through the arena. Some chant, "Spare him." Others howl, "Kill." The sound is deafening. It feels like the walls themselves shake, and then every eye turns to one man, the emperor, sitting in his marble seat, golden laurel on his head, purple robe flowing. He leans forward, slowly, deliberately. The crowd hushes. A terrifying silence falls. You can hear your own heartbeat. Thud, 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 thud. The emperor raises his hand. All wait for the sign. Thumbs up, you live. Thumbs down, you die. Simple, final. Your vision blurs. Blood runs into your eyes. You whisper a prayer to Jupiter. To Mars. To anyone listening. Your life hangs by a gesture. The emperor lowers his hand, his thumb moves, the crowd erupts, the gladiator grins. You realize your fate is sealed. The emperor's thumb hangs in the air. For a heartbeat, the entire Colosseum holds its breath. Then he turns it downward. The crowd explodes. The gladiator roars with triumph. You know what it means. Death, your enemy, raises his blade high. The sun flashes across the steel. You shut your eyes. You feel the wind of the swing and dash darkness. Nothing. The sand drinks your blood as the crowd cheers louder than ever. Your life, a moment of entertainment. Your death, just another show. But let's step sideways. Let's imagine the emperor chose differently. His thumb turned up the crowd. Gasps, some boo, some cheer. But the choice is made. You live for now. The gladiator lowers his sword. He spits beside you, as if disgusted. But he doesn't strike. Guards rush into the arena. They drag your body across the sand. Your wounds leave a crimson trail behind. The people clap, but less loudly. They came for blood, and you survived. You are spared, not out of mercy, but because you may fight again. Back in the underground cells, the stench is worse than before. The chains bite into your wrists. A doctor slave presses a burning iron to your wound. The pain rips through your body. You scream, but no one cares. You're patched, not healed, because healing takes time, and time is not something a gladiator owns. Within days, you're thrown back into training, this time harder, this time crueler, because you lived once, and survival makes you dangerous. The trainers know this. The other gladiators know this. The crowd will demand more from you next time. You've tasted death and slipped from its jaws. But in Rome, mercy is never free. It is only borrowed. And one day, the debt will be collected. The gates creak open again. The smell of blood greets you before the roar of the crowd does this time. The Colosseum feels even louder because tonight's fight is not just a match, it's a spectacle. The posters have gone up across Rome. The people have been told, the slave who survived the arena returns. You are the attraction. Your opponent waits at the center. Not just a gladiator, a legend. A man undefeated in 30 fights. The people call him the Lion of Rome. He wears armor that glints in the sunlight. His sword looks heavier than your entire arm. And when he looks at you, it's not hatred, it's pity, because he knows you don't stand a chance. The horn blows, the battle begins. Steel crashes against steel. Your arms shake with every strike. The crowd screams with every clash. But tonight, something is different. Tonight, you fight not just for survival. You fight because you refuse to be forgotten. The lion swings, you dodge. He slashes, you block. He stabs, you roll away. Every second you live. The crowd grows louder. Every breath you take, Rome watches. Then he makes a mistake, just one. He swings too wide. You see the opening, and with everything left inside you, you drive your blade into his side. The lion falls. The Colosseum falls silent, and then erupts. The emperor rises to his feet. His eyes are on you. This is the moment. The crowd chants, "Live! Live! Live!" You stand over the fallen champion, panting, broken, bleeding. The emperor's thumb hovers in the air, then dash, slowly dash. It turns upward. The arena shakes with noise. You are no longer just a slave. You are no longer just a man. You are a gladiator, a survivor, a victor. And as the sun sets over the Colosseum, you realize something brutal and true. You lived longer than anyone expected. But in Rome, survival is never freedom, because tomorrow the crowd will hunger again, and one day the emperor's thumb will not save you.